Hi, it's Mel Dennis here at the 2023 High Form Water Wheel Reining Classic, and I'm here with Ben Balow. Ben has flown all the way over from the States to judge our show this week, along with Pam Spokes. Ben, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here. It's my second time here, actually. I was here last year and get to come out again this year. And man, I'm just excited just to see the enthusiasm in our sport. I see a lot of improvement from last year to this year, and it's just been really cool. I'm glad to be here.
And unfortunately, we keep getting you out in this chilly weather, so...
That's all right. It doesn't seem that chilly to me. I'm okay with it. It's cools off a little at night, of course, but man, all in all, I think it's been really nice. So.
Yeah, and I mean, you're getting to sit in the shed all day, so you're not seeing a lot of the daylight out there. But Ben, tell us a bit about yourself, where you're from in the States and what you're doing over there.
Absolutely. So I am from a very small town in central Arizona called Skull Valley. And it is about 20 miles southwest of Prescott, Arizona, which is right in the center of the state. Kind of up in the mountains a little bit, and not what everybody thinks of as Arizona. We get a little snow up there this last winter, quite a little snow. I grew up right there, and so I started off as a young man. My dad worked on a lot of ranches and stuff in northern Arizona, and so I kind of had that background. I kind of came all through high school working on ranches, and then I high school rodeoed way back. That's been a few years back, but I did that and started riding outside horses when I was about 16 years old. Looking back on it, didn't know really what I was doing, but I guess I knew a little bit more than the people that were sending them to me. So I would ride some outside horses, thought it was a pretty cool gig. And
so how old were you then when you started training?
I was about 16, I think, when I first started riding some outside horses for other people. And then just skipping forward a little bit, I graduated from high school there in Prescott. Went down to what we call the Valley, which is that Scottsdale, Rio Verde, Phoenix area, and I went to work for a horse trainer down there. Initially a rope horse trainer, worked for him for a couple of years, saw my first reining horse and was just absolutely in awe. I had, it's been a lot of years ago, but I still feel the same way. I'm still in awe. I'm in awe when our sports come. And
how old were you when you saw your first reining horse?
I was about 20 years old when I saw my first reining horse.
Okay, so maybe 10 years ago?
Yeah, right. Yeah, somewhere around that neighborhood, give or take a few decades there. So
thinking about the horses that you saw back then, a couple of decades ago, as you admit, what's the difference between then and now? Because the sport has come such a long way in over the decades.
The difference is astounding. Of course, I worked for a couple of guys that were pretty renowned in our industry at that time. The first guy I worked for was Brett Stone, and he was the first guy from the West Coast to win the NRHA Futurity on a horse called Boomerneck, and I think that was about 1993 that he did that. And then I went to work for kind of a legendary figure in our industry, a man named Bill Horn. And Bill Horn won the Futurity the very first year that I went to work for him, which was 1987, on a horse called Spirit of Five. And if you look back on that video now, if you can find it, that run honestly wouldn't win our Green Rainer class these days. I mean, it was just that much different. It was just a whole different sport, and those were the best of the best. Those guys were the best of the best in the industry. And I remember watching Spirit of Five when Bill Horn won the Futurity, and thought I just never seen anything like it. It was absolutely incredible. Of course, that was a lot of years ago, and then we evolved and to what this sport has come to these days, which is just absolutely a worldwide phenomenon.
It's pretty amazing. Like chatting with some of the guys here that started in Australia, 20 odd years ago, they were reining on grass.
Yeah, I think that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, well, you could damn sure slide a long ways that way. So. But yeah, now it's just become very scientific. The breeding on these horses is incredible these days, and you have a whole bunch of people that are absolutely dedicated to this sport. I mean, it becomes a way of life for a lot of us, and I just can't imagine anything I'd rather be doing. I can't imagine just being any happier to be a part of what is happening in the world of reining today.
It's certainly a fantastic community, and within the NRHA Oceania group that we're part of, we've got people in Japan, in Thailand, in South Africa that are all connecting with the Australian Rainers as well, and our affiliate championships coming up in August in Tamworth that we're pretty excited about. But not only that, connecting with the people over in the States that we're able to, and a lot of us have been over to Run for a Million and know a few trainers over there. There's a couple of Australian trainers over there, which has been fantastic to, I just guess to boost the sport.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, a couple of very good Australian trainers, matter of fact. So I've been all over the world judging. I've had my judge's card for about 35 years, and I've been, I've just been all over Brazil, Japan, Israel, Italy, Germany, Canada, Mexico, and just all over the United States. And so I get to see a pretty wide variety of horses, and what I see is a pretty universal toughness. Like, in other words, like you can go to Brazil and you're going to see some incredible reining runs. You can come here and you're going to see some incredible reining runs. You can come, just everywhere I've been in Canada and like say even Japan, which is a pretty small contingent, but there's some pretty good horses over there and a couple of pretty good reining clubs over there, and that was pretty cool. So again, I'm just privileged to be a part of this. And it's kind of, I came from very humble background, and so to be able to do what I'm doing, I can't imagine wanting to do anything else.
Yeah, and travelling the world's pretty amazing. We've got 3 youth at the moment from the Oceania group over at the Youth World Cup in Italy. So we've got someone going from Thailand, South Africa, and from Australia, which is pretty cool too. So the opportunities that Reining is supplying, to everybody is terrific. So you've come from a family background of horses.
Yes.
You got kids, and have they sort of moved into the same thing? Or?
I've got a couple of sons. One is not into horses. The other one is, and he's 20 years old, and he actually works for a rope horse trainer in the United States, and very successful at what he does. But he shows some reiners and some cow horses, and just a very good kind of an all-around hand. One of my kids, and he's ate up with it. Has a lot of passion for it. So it's kind of cool, I was kind of thinking maybe he'd go to college, but that didn't work out too well.
I think once you've got that horse bug, and you really need to have the bug, don't you? It's not something you can kind of half do. There's so much involved with training horses, reining horses, particularly, all of them. It's a pretty full-on dedication to looking after them and training them to be able to do well.
Absolutely has to be kind of a way of life, especially if you're a trainer. I think even for the non-pros and what have you, but the non-pros, hopefully they have a good trainer that they get to help them with their horses, and some of them stay in training, and there are non-pros that kind of what we call homeschoolers, that keep their horses home, but they still go, if they're wise, they go get help from trainers, get lessons and that sort of thing. So you have to be dedicated. There's absolutely I don't go hardly anywhere that it's not with a horse or to a horse. And that's 365 days a year. You have to be just that very dedicated to it. Yeah.
I know I was chatting with someone who wanted to go on a holiday, and the holiday then involved going somewhere where they could take the horses and ride on the beach and go through the bush. So
yeah.
And Ben, so you're also a trainer in the States. Do you take horses in for training? You train non-pros that come in that you call the home trainers?
I absolutely do. Yeah, that's been probably my main focus has been on non-pros, rookies, green reiners, and been doing that for quite a few years. I actually came right from a show in Arizona, the one called the Mother's Day Slide. Here, I flew straight from it. Matter of fact, they still had a day to go when I flew over here. And so I had 2 rookies trying to qualify for the Run for a Million in the rookie division. And one of my rookies, a lady named Nikki Milliken, won it the first day, won the qualifier, and then my youth girl, Daisy Howe, won it the second day. So we won both qualifiers there in Arizona, and just pretty excited to be able to go to the Run for a Million. I've judged it. I've been the equipment judge at the Run for a Million the last 2 years, and I didn't take the job this year, mainly with the idea that I had a lot of hope that these 2 rookies would make it, and which they did. So, and which I'm not able to obviously judge it if I've got a couple rookies there. So
How exciting is that? I know there was a lot of us that went over last year, and there's a few going over again this year, and been to a few of them. Like, it's so exciting to watch, and we don't get to see it here on television that easy. You know, the last Cowboy series we don't get to find that easy as you get it delivered over in the States. So we all kind of hang out for it to come out.
Well, and I think to watch the Run for a Million, you've got to be there for those 15 horses that go in on Saturday night. I think I'm not the only one that shares this thought. Last year was the toughest reining anybody has ever seen in their entire life, and I would be surprised if we would. I don't want to say we would never see another one like it, but the likelihood is pretty slim. And just to see that caliber of horses, and as I said, I've been judging horses for 35 years, and I can kind of tell you on maybe 2 handfuls of plus 1.5 maneuvers that I've given through the years, and I can kind of tell you every one of them. They were great runs, like Andrea Fapani on Custom Legend. I think it was in 2010, and he marks a 236, and that was the highest score, and it held for a long time in the history of the NRHA. I marked him a 78, and obviously so did about 4 other judges. But at that Run for a Million, I think one of the judges I talked to said in that class alone he gave something like 25 plus 1.5. So that's the caliber it was. And
it was absolutely phenomenal. I was in the crowd last year, and I think Jordan McBurney came out and rode, and we all went, "Wow, she's got it! Like, how can it get better than that?" Exactly. And then, it was just crazy.
That is exactly right. Yeah, and then I think it lasted for 2 horses, and then you think, well, how can it get better than that? And that lasted for 2 horses, and. Yeah, but just incredible.
Phenomenal watching. And Ben, do you have school horses over in the States as well? So if someone from Australia wanted to come over and have a lesson with you and ride, is that a possibility?
It is at times, yeah. At times, I've actually got one of your Australian qualifiers that I helped last year, and I think she's going to come again this year. And Jess Kent. And I think I'm going to try to help her the best I can, and I'm on the hunt for a horse for her right now. She actually rode one of mine last year, and I think had a good time, And
she's already qualified. She was here at the VRHA State Show and qualified for Run for a Million. So it's fantastic to see her going over again. Big effort that she puts in to get there too. So
and that's to me that's such an incredible story with her because. She has to work really, really hard to get this done, and financially and just time-wise and all of that. And she loves it that much, and she's dedicated to it that much. And so, we just do everything we can to make sure that her experience is what it's supposed to be, what it should be.
Fantastic, Ben. Well, I think this class is just about wrapping up, so you might be back in the judges' chair, and I'm 10th out, so we better wrap this up, and we will chat with you soon. Thank you so much for judging. We really appreciate having you here, and have a good trip for the rest of Australia.
Thank you very much. I love being here, and hopefully I'll see you for long. Okay.